Is everybody muted? No. I think Jack and Autumn.
I'm not muted yet, but
All right, great. So thank you all for attending our extraordinary General Assembly. As we mentioned, or as Ray mentioned in the email, the original intent was we would have had our General Assembly at our Portugal meeting, but I know that you are aware that we're having to postpone that for a year, and it's important that we have our General Assembly meeting for a couple of different reasons. So thank you all for coming, and it looks like we have some of our longstanding members here, which is great, and we've already all introduced. Yay! That's what Ray says. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for the adoption of the agenda. So is there a motion to adopt the agenda for the meeting?
You have to unmute now if you want to say anything, guys.
I move that we approve the agenda.
And I second it.
Okay, Autumn moves.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Yes. Okay, great. So did you note that, Ray?
Yeah, got it.
All right. So one of the main reasons why we are having the Icem General Assembly meeting is that we are dissolving our chapter under the German law, German regulations, and moving the chapter to Austrian law. So we need to go ahead and officially have a General Assembly to complete this process. And so that's part of what this General Assembly is for and is about. So with this process, we will move to dissolve the German chapter and to begin the Austrian chapter and appointing Walter as the treasurer and all of the things that go along with that. And so I don't know, Ray, do you want me to turn this to you at this point so that you can?
I'll let maybe Walter wants to step in.
Yeah, we have the necessity to close down the German organization before we can start in Austria, because I need the approval of a German court to collect all the money from Icem registered in Munich to transfer it to Austria. So first we have to make a quite a formal step to dissolute Icem in Germany, and this is the necessity to start in Austria as a new.
Maybe just to add, I mean, we have already founded a basic organization here in Austria, because we didn't want to have it in such a way that we would close the German one and then start the Austrian one. What we've done now is we've started the Austrian one, but it's just with the skeleton crew. So it's got, I think, the three of us as the main organs. But what we have to do is we have to close the German one with this meeting officially. And what we will then need to do later on in the year is to have a General Assembly again, a normal General Assembly for the new organization. And in that meeting then, which will be a longer meeting, we'll need to prepare more for it. That's when we start to decide, okay, what structure are we going to have, what organization structure we're going to have, who's going to assume which roles. We'll have the elections at it, and then also we need to decide, okay, what changes do we want to make to our statutes? What direction do we want to go in? What have we learned from this experience now as well, which is something we definitely will have to take into account. So here today, as Hannah said, the idea is to get this legal part out of the way to enable us to move forward with the Austrian one. I think that's, does anyone have any questions? Is it clear for everyone what we're doing?
Now, may I just let people know that we are recording this session for the records?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I forgot to tell everyone then. So basically what we're doing is, in order to close the German one, we have to appoint a, what do we call it? Litigator. That would be, that's normally the treasurer of the organization. So in this case, it'll be Walter. So we have to give him the power to say, okay, yes, you can now act on our behalf, close this organization, transfer whatever funds are left on the 2 German accounts to the Austrian account. And then the German court will officially dissolve the organization. Okay?
Okay, do you want to submit this to a vote?
Yes.
Do you want to use the poll that
Yes.
Otto's created?
Yes. Otto, do you want to talk about your poll?
Okay, so if you would like to announce, I am launching a poll, and you can respond to that from your computers, so that that the vote can be recorded. So I'm going to launch it now. As you vote,
That
you will
looks
see the
so
result.
cool. Thank you.
I didn't see a poll.
You should be seeing it. Can everybody see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't see
It's a
it.
great feature.
You have to click on something.
Jack, it may be hidden behind your Zoom. So maybe if you minimize it and look behind.
Uh-huh.
It's a little pop-up window.
So I have nine of 12 people have voted. Okay, tell me when you want to end.
Are we still waiting?
Yeah, I have 10 of 12 people voted.
I'll have to just say yes verbally because I can't find the poll.
Okay, so there will be 11 of 12. I am the 12th person.
Could you resend it if possible? It's possible Pombos did not get it. I know he just came, so he may not.
I just voted.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, he.
I got it. Sorry, I'm late.
All right.
And Chaba? Did Chaba vote?
He dropped off. I think he said that he could not hear. He needed to go on another machine. So we'll have to get his vote from him when he comes back. But yeah, we can. So Otto, would you like to announce then it sounds like you have the majority?
Yes. So here I go. I'm going to share my screen. I think that'll help. As you can see here, we have 10 voted, and I'm 11th one because I couldn't vote because I'm handling it. So that will be 11 votes for yes, 0 no, and actually 12 because Jack said also. Also, for the number 2 item, I vote to appoint Walter Olensky as liquidator. That was the next item on the agenda, but everybody voted as well, so that also is no negative votes.
Great. So it sounds as unanimous
Great.
that we can report to the German, I guess the ministry, right? The organization over the financials, that we officially are dissolving the German chapter, and we are appointing Walter Olinsky as our liquidator. So I think that is official. So
Yep.
Perfect.
Well
Great.
done, Walter. We believe in you.
Thank you, Walter, for serving.
Yes.
Yeah.
So looking at the agenda, I mean, we can discuss some of the next things, which would be the future directions. And I know Ray did speak a little bit on this already. So kind of thinking through, there were, I guess, the bylaws that were rewritten over the last few years. Those have been shared already, correct? They were shared a while back with the General Assembly. I know they've been shared with the executive yet. So
I can share them again.
yes.
I can share them after this meeting again anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we had to make some minor changes to the statutes for the Austrian Icem because their regulations were slightly different. But in general, they haven't really changed very much. Some official wording had to be changed for legal reasons, but other than that, there was nothing really to change. But this will be something that we need to have for the next General Assembly, which will be later this year, where we decide, okay, which direction do we want to go in now? Which actual form do we want to go with? We'll have new elections as well to say, okay, who wants to take over what role? And of course, the other thing that I wanted to use this opportunity for was to decide, okay, is there anything that we can learn from the current situation that we're in now, to say, okay, maybe this is an opportunity for Icem to say, okay, which way should we go now? What have we learned from the last 6 weeks or from the last 8 weeks? What do we think is going to happen as a result of this from perspective of the future of schooling on a global scale, or at least on the international scale that we have? I know here in Austria, there is a lot of talk about how unprepared a lot of schools were for this, and they're going to make a lot of changes with regard to the availability of online content. But not only that, content itself is one thing. What they're also talking about is, like I said, the platforms that are available, because every teacher seems to be using whatever platform he or she knows and is comfortable with. So that's something that will need to be addressed for them. But also the whole concept of home learning or distance learning has changed now. It used to be something that some schools were involved in a little bit, but now every school has been forced to do it. And I'm really surprised actually that, Anita, you said in Germany, your boys haven't had anything for 6 weeks. I'm shocked at that actually. So yeah, I just wanted to put out
7 weeks, and they will start again in the middle of June. So more, 5 weeks more.
Goodness.
Yes, crazy.
So
But
what
they are
about
attending.
what about universities and stuff? Have they closed completely as well?
No.
Well, here in the United States, most universities, with the exception of a couple that are evangelical Christian churches, attached to evangelical churches, they decided not to close. But they have had problems with the COVID-19. But all the other universities in the United States have been closed. I know the University of Memphis, for example, all the classes are closed. There's no perspective that they will open through the summer, and maybe not even in September. They have a question. So all the classes have been transferred to online. And as far as I know, all the universities are using Zoom for the classes that they have online, or they're using another one that is called Blue Jeans. But all of the universities are offering courses online, as far as I know.
Okay. Right. Does anyone else want to throw anything into the bot here?
Sure.
I can.
Oh, go ahead.
Shall I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the ministry decided to give an online course, and they choose 3 persons of every school group to make this training And everybody, universities, they are having courses online since the beginning. And schools, they also are providing courses online, sometimes synchronous, other times asynchronous, but everybody is having classes. And more than this, because some of the people don't have the access to internet or they don't have a computer, they ask to all city, what is the name, city, to the municipalities to provide computers to kids. And at the same time, they are providing classes through the television every afternoon from first degree to 9th degree. So for instance, my grandson, in the morning, he has classes with the teachers of the school because he has the internet and the computer. And in the afternoon, if he likes, he can see the classes at the television. But in the morning, we are doing big efforts, and us, competence centers, we are doing lots of training online, sometimes 1 hour, sometimes 3 hours training to every teacher who wants to have a train with us. And we are trying to talk with them and discuss with them about synchronous meetings, asynchronous meetings, how to provide exercises, how to promote e-activities to kids. Here, as the country is not as big as the others, I think that things are going quite well, quite well. This is my opinion. Thank you.
I also think, given what Zaya said, what Otto, what everybody's been talking about with, you know, the differences in distance learning or you know, some digital, some not, it might also be a good time. And is Pombos still here? Because I was going to totally talk about Pombos and he's gone. He looks like he disappeared. I was getting ready to say, I think it might be a really nice opportunity for us to look at taking EMI and doing, great, Pombos, you're back, because I'm just about to talk about you. I think that one of our contributions from Icem might even be that we look at having a special themed issue on teaching distance learning in pandemics or teaching in disasters or something, and use EMI, since it is our journal, as a platform for a special issue on this topic. And that can be somewhat of a contribution from Icem. So Pombos, what are your thoughts there of EMI?
That is a great idea. That is a great idea, I think, and we can agree on maybe some of us can be the editors of the special issue, and we can draft a simple call for papers. And I think from our perspective of following what's going on now, I think there is a huge gap on what happens at primary and early secondary schools. Everybody knows what's happening in universities, everybody on upper secondary, elementary, high schools, but in primary level, because for many reasons, it was never exploited to its full potential. Now we have a huge urge, at least in Europe, that I follow all the debates in Brussels, to support primary schools, homeschooling, parents, and so on. So I think a special issue on that age group will be probably the only issue ever targeting such an issue. If you Google search in any database, there is no special issue on this. Marina, if I turn on my camera, you'll be shocked.
Okay, let's shock him. Okay, so here's something that I think that we probably could join, and that is UNESCO's effort. I don't know if
I have to close my camera.
I don't know how many of you have seen this,
takes up my
but
bandwidth.
UNESCO is asking for Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
What I was saying is that if you have received information, UNESCO has been sending information about the program that they have actually webinars on weekly basis, and they're exploring all these questions about what people are doing to teach online, and that includes K through 20 schools. And I think it would be a good idea to check with UNESCO and see how we can join their effort. And I agree with Pambus about writing an article about what is being done. There's a lot of research to be done in terms of how people are using technology to access education for schools.
I think we're talking about a whole special issue though, where it's, yeah, not just one article, but like the entire special issue of EMI.
Okay. So what do you think about checking with UNESCO to see what they are doing?
I think it's a good idea. Actually, I'm subscribing to a lot of their newsletters. Toto, you are right. They do great work and they send updates a lot, and also they keep the trends on the education and so on. It's very good. I think it would be good to check with them. But the way I would see that now, I'm just thinking out loud, is maybe UNESCO contributes one of the papers. Their perspective. So we have two approaches, I think, for a special issue like this. One would be an open call. The other, which it sounds to me a bit more strategic, is to identify a couple of key people in each main region to co-author with some others what's happening, for example, in Latin America. So maybe Otto and his colleagues can lead a paper on that. What's happening in North America, what's happening in Europe, Asia, and so if we manage to get the lessons learned from this, that would be one approach. The other is to have an open call and get a lot of submissions and decide.
I think it might be nice to do both, where the special issue has, if we look at regions, and we can even do this in a way where we look at what we were identifying for places we would want chapters. Which was one of the things that's written into the new bylaws. So we might have 6 regions we identify around the country, around the world, with each of those regions that kind of invited paper. And then there's a call that exists within that, so that there are also papers that are related to that region that come through that kind of peer review process. So it might be a more extensive, like a double issue where it's more than the 5 articles. And then UNESCO could write, we might invite Mark, right? Because he does a lot of the pieces and the not articles, but the what do you call those? The thought pieces, the think pieces for UNESCO. We might invite him to also author something within that as almost like an opening or a forward or something to these special issues. So we've got the UNESCO voice, and then we've got the 5 or 6 regions that we are identifying for hoping that we have as chapters. And then the call kind of exists where people know that they are submitting their pieces for peer review to be considered within each kind of region. So we might have a 15 article special issue versus a 5 article special issue, where you've kind of got a couple of articles under the invited article. Does that make sense, how I'm saying that?
Yes, but I think it's good to start first with something manageable that we can do, and if that leads to many issues, it's fine. But I think it's better to decide on one, let's start with it, and if we get so much big interest from the call, we can of course adjust accordingly. But if there are people in the group that want to lead different directions, we can of course announce 2 special issues. But I think that it might be a bit distracting. I think it sounds to me we start with 1, let's see what we get. And before finalizing it, once we know the interest, so we can decide on a second one. But this is just my idea. I don't want to make this decision on my own. I mean, we have to hear other people's views,
Yeah, I think I agree with Pablo's. One issue. and let's concentrate on that and invite either Mark or Val from UNESCO to see if they want to contribute an article with what they are doing.
Bravo, that would be great, yes.
So I guess, are there other ideas for lessons learned from COVID and Icem's interaction within the kind of global community? Anybody else want to add to the idea pool?
Well, yes, after listening to Anita about the experience in Germany, I think it would be interesting to write something about that. What is the difference between what they're doing in Estonia, for example, when everybody is accessible or they have access to technology, and what's happening in Germany when they give them PDFs every 6 weeks or so to guide the education. So it would be good to hear the differences between countries.
So do you think I should send them some informations?
That would be good. That would be good.
Yes.
Hey, Anita, I'm wondering if your experience is universal throughout Germany, though.
I think it will be totally different. We have communities which are better, and we have for sure also schools which are very worst. Because this is a high school in a very rich town, and it doesn't work. And now think about schools in poor areas, that will be horrible. I heard that we didn't reach more than 20% of the students in the last 6 weeks. We didn't reach them at home.
See, that would be an interesting case to hear, to write something about, and to compare it with others. I don't know. I'm thinking about Estonia just from the people that are online.
You know, I listening to all this, I'm really interested to hear live during a session like this from others around the world, because we've been doing a lot of webinars, I mean, at the college, at the university too, and this is the first time I'm hearing from across around the world in a webinar format like that. So maybe we want to consider doing something like that with a panel from different regions. But just to quickly share about what's happening in Hawaii, one of the things I've been helping with the K-12 DOE. There has a group that's called the Hawaii, I think, State Technology and Education Society. In any case, they've been having virtual sessions, coffee hour, what they call virtual office hours for teachers. And it's been really interesting to hear, again, the stories about the disparity between schools, between areas. Because here, I mean, one of the things that I find that really is jarring is the digital divide. And so even within certain classes, you have teachers who have to grapple with half the students who can actually go on to Google. By the way, we don't allow Zoom here in Hawaii because of security issues, and at least at the K-12, and university is fine. But they are meeting in Google Meet and all that. But the other half in the class, the teacher was in tears telling us that she doesn't know how to reach her students because they don't have Wi-Fi, they have internet access, they don't have laptops. And so as an educator, she felt so conflicted that she could not give the same education experience to all of her students within a class. So the digital divide issue is something that I think it's become very, very apparent even in developed countries.
I agree.
So it sounds like we definitely want to go forward with the special issue and collecting these stories, and collecting even empirical pieces as well of people that are collecting data on what they're doing, and also kind of conceptual or opinion oriented pieces. Pambos, what is the next step we need to do to officially launch a special issue?
We need to agree on, a couple of guest editors, I assume, and then draft a 1-2-pager call for papers. And we can announce it really fast. I'll be glad to be one of the editors, but I'm editing all the other stuff. It would be preferable to give the opportunity to some of our colleagues to take the lead on that, but I would be glad to contribute because, you know, it's, we're actually, I mean, it's also a very personal interest to me.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I'm more than willing to help and be a guest editor as well. I don't know who else, if any others would like to. I'm sure.
okay.
Not all at
So-
once.
No, that's great. So,
Uh,
did anybody? Did
Sorry,
somebody say
Pambos.
something?
Yeah, Pambos, I was going to say I'm interested. However, it has to be after the end of this month because this is crazy at the end of our semester. We're doing everything virtual. I'm in charge of at least 2 different virtual graduations. I have a virtual graduation open sim this Friday, and next week I have a 300 student college convocation that's going to be done virtually for the first time.
That's fine. So look, okay, then maybe we can say it's Hannah, Peter, and I can support too. If anybody else is interested, you are welcome. All we need is a pager to announce it, and then we just have to wait. So there isn't real work now other than drafting a one pager, and I'm sure Hannah, between her beekeeping, chicken raising, and hunting, and learning
Oh,
to link, you can just draft one page and share it with us, and we give her feedback the same day.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
Decision made.
I'll be
Next
glad.
topic on the agenda.
I'll be glad to help. I'll be glad to help too.
Excellent. Wonderful. Otto as well. That's great.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. Jason, welcome. We're just gathering a bit of info here about what's going on around the world with regard to the schooling situation, what effect the pandemic has had on it. So we've had reports from the States, from Hawaii, from Austria, from Germany. How are things going there? What
Our
problems
schools
have
are
you-
opening up. Our schools are actually opening up. Our official, all the elementary, middle school, and high school will be officially beginning by end of May. And everything will be mostly back to normal by June. Baseball has already begun in Korea. A lot of things are going back to normal, except for the universities. Universities and most of the universities announced to be fully online this semester. Where unfortunately, most of the academic organizations, which is mostly held in the fall, are kind of looking forward to postponing it till next year, like us, because it will make no sense for just the Koreans to do it. It'll be very hard to invite anyone internationally. That's the situation. But other than that, the public education seems like it's going forward. They said they're going to do half online and half in class learning. So, for example, half of the students will come in the mornings and they'll take online classes in the afternoons, go back home. And the other half will take online classes in the morning and come to the school in the afternoon. So it's only the teachers and the workers who have to stay for the full day.
Okay, and have there been many problems? I mean, like from an infrastructure point of view, because what we've noticed here in a couple of other countries is that schools weren't prepared for this at all.
Oh, yes, it was. We had server issues, even though Korea is really recognized as a very high-tech country. But I remember the first day, my daughter couldn't log into the online program at all. My students were complaining that my the server, they can't access the school website. Interestingly, the cyber universities are actually considered as one of the top universities in the recent COVID-19 because their servers are always fine. They've been working really well with everything. But other than that, the biggest issues is like because of the health. The government we have a rule a 5-day rule that you can only buy masks on a certain day, depending on your birthday. So my day is Wednesday. So every Wednesday, I can go to the pharmacy and buy some masks. And you're limited to 3 masks per person per week. And everyone has to keep that rule. It's kind of forced. And the schools have extra masks for the students, but for everyone else, that's the rule. We're trying to see, everyone's really careful, because that if there's one, you just need one incident and everything goes down the drain. So everyone's being super careful, but so far it's getting better. Actually, it's getting better. We only had 2 people yesterday who had issues with COVID-19, and they were all from they're not even Koreans. They're from different countries who came into the airport and was noted, who were affected by COVID-19. So they were put into quarantine. And so the past couple of days, we had almost no Koreans who had any issues. But yesterday was Children's Day in Korea. So, which means half of the Koreans were out celebrating Children's Day. And I'm going to give it 2 more weeks to see how it goes.
Well, in the United States, if you're in a state with a Republican governor, you're immune from COVID. They're opening up businesses. You know, in the hottest state of Texas, the governor has said they have the hospital capacity to handle people with the virus. Well, you know, people still die from it in hospitals. How about preventing it?
Yeah.
In the Northeast, like just in my state, Massachusetts, more than 5,000 people have died from it just here. And, you know, in the U.S., it's more than 65,000. My campus, you know, at Harvard, they haven't decided if they're going to be online or live in the fall yet. The summer school is all online. So they've decided about that. But of course, you know, it's a private institution. We run on donations, et cetera. And they're taking a look at the huge hit financially that's happening because of gifts and endowments. Even the richest school in the world has to take a look at money. I snuck in for a minute between meetings. I've got to do a podcast in 3 minutes. So when I jump off, it has nothing to do with you. It just has to go to a podcast.
Oh yeah. Yeah, especially in Korea, a lot of students are protesting about the quality of the online videos, online lectures.
Yes.
Honestly, there's a lot of faculty members who are doing their best, but there's always that several people who's been really slacking. We have incidents where university students has been posting videos back 20 years ago. So the students were having difficulty even recognizing who the professor is, because they don't look they look very differently from 20 years ago. We have some professors, even in my university, we have couple of professors who haven't posted any material yet. It's halfway through the semester and nothing. The other problem is the government says, you know, teachers and professors, they have to follow certain rules, but they're not really helping us out. I mean, we're not professionals in editing videos or setting up anything. I mean, I can teach, but I mean, it was a whole new learning curve. I was very fortunate to learn all these things on the way, but not every faculty member in Korea is going to be like me. So we had to like learn how to edit videos, post videos, learn how to like help the students to learn in a better way. So a lot of students are actually demanding for a refund of their tuitions, which is not a lot compared to what it is in the States, especially Harvard. I mean, but it's not a lot, but still it's a lot to the students. And the university is saying, university has been taking hit a lot financially too, because they lost all the international students in Korea. We have a lot of Chinese international students, a lot of international students from the Southeast region of Asia. They're all not coming, which is some universities, it's like over 10,000 students. And that's financially a big hit, but the school has to keep the school has to run, and the government really hasn't done any kind of financial aid for the educational system. They're just giving out rules. I think it's kind of like that all over the world. Korea has its own Trump, so it's kind of like that.
You mean there's 2 of them?
Well, you know, there's always one white version and an Asian version. So I mean,
It's a cruel world.
It is.
But Jason, you actually, because the last photo I saw of you, you had your own studio set up in your living room, hadn't you? I mean,
Yep, that was
Bye, everyone.
that was from my pocket money. It's my money. I set it
Really?
up with my own money. The university gave me nothing. Well, I mean, technically they gave me the salary, so I guess they gave me something. But yeah, it's I
They didn't give it to you, you earned it.
yeah. So I actually bought like a new mic. I bought the Final Cut Pro program. I bought the lightings. I bought a lot of things just to make the quality better. Luckily, my students are enjoying my videos, so that's a good thing. So, and I thought this is something that we're going to be probably doing a lot in the next couple of years. I believe there will be a new version of COVID-19 in a couple of years later, something like this. So I was just like to be prepared, get used to it. It's part of my own half hobby thing also. So I just invested myself. Some of my colleagues actually bought a lot of other things. One of my colleagues just bought a whole new computer set, and he doesn't even play games, and he bought a streaming computer, and he has a whole streaming setup and streams his lectures. And in Korea, we have this other system called Africa TV, which is kind of like Twitch, and you can give star balloons, which is actually same as money. And students has been giving him star balloons, and I think he's been earning a lot of money back. But yeah, not a lot of faculty members are like me. I was very fortunate. Part of me being involved with a lot of educational technology, seeing a lot around the world. I mean, even just hanging out with you guys, I've been learning a lot about online teaching and learning. So I was actually a step ahead of my colleagues. And I kind of found out what my students wanted to do, what they needed, and I narrowed it down. So it got a lot better. But yeah, for example, most of you met my dad. He's retired, but he still teaches a class. He actually told his students, I'm not doing online classes. I can't do online classes. He actually said that to his students. So he said he's going to cancel his class for the full semester. I won't teach, because that's happening. I mean, I believe there's some faculty members out there who's not comfortable with technology at all. I mean, you can't force them to learn it all of a sudden. No one knew, no one expected something like this would have happened.
Well, that's similar here in Austria. I know personally as well that there are some teachers who are kind of going, well, you know, as you said earlier, well, I'm not a video editor. You know, they're going, well, they have to learn how to work the way through the platform. They have to learn what to share, how to share it. I mean, Gwen tells me stories about her teacher sending her stuff and saying, yeah, I sent you all 6 attachments. And she goes, no, we got 1. Well, I sent 6, no, we got 1. Then send it again. Okay, now we got 2. And went on for like 2 hours more or less. In the end, she still didn't get all 6 attachments. She only had like 3 of them twice. Wow. So like,
yeah.
But this is a relatively young teacher as well. Some of the older teachers, I can fully understand why it's turned around and said, well, you know, this isn't actually part of my job description, or at least it wasn't when I took this job. Is it part of the job description now? Well, as you say, if there's a second wave of something like this, or the COVID-20 or the COVID-21, it's going to become maybe part of your job description to
touch wood,
be able to do it online as well. And that, I think, is going to be a challenge for a lot of teachers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, even for the students, my son, he's in 1st grade. It's his first time going to school, and he has no idea what it's like. He's staying home watching videos all morning, and that's it. I mean, for him, it's like he was really hyped up. He's like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to meet a new teacher. I'm going to meet friends. And all that he's meeting is his sister and me every morning. And he's been seeing his teacher online, but they're 1st graders, so they have no idea what it's like to actually see the teacher. He's like watching the teacher, and he goes, and he just stands up and starts eating something. And I'm like, you're not supposed to eat something during class. And he's like, but I'm home. I'm in the kitchen. I can do it. I was like, yeah, you can do it, but you're not supposed to do it. So he's like eating cereal every morning, listening to his teacher. He's smart enough to turn his video off. So But hopefully it's, I hope it gets better around the world. I mean, it's getting really difficult even to travel anywhere. I think it's a big loss. I mean, there should be some gains, but it's still a big loss. It's getting a big hit everywhere. Especially I think in the education parts, I don't think that one of the biggest concern is that the Korean SAT in Korea, what are we going to do about it? Students haven't received quality education for the SATs. The private institutes has been crumbling down because they haven't seen any students at all, and that's where most of the educations are coming in Korea. And they're still discussing if they're going to like delay the SATs. Does that mean that we're going to have are we going to have 2021 semester begin late, or maybe we might follow like the States where like the September will be the first semester. Currently March is the first semester, but are we going to change it? I mean, no one knows. I mean, I told you, Korea has its own version of Trump. He's not really doing anything. So hopefully things will get better.
Well, going back to the preparation of teachers, this is one of the big things that we have had at the California State University system, is that many, many years ago, we saw the problem that if teachers were not prepared to use technology, they were going to fail in the classroom. So we made a big effort to train teachers, and throughout the whole state system. And I think you've seen examples of that of some of my colleagues that went to present to the Icem conferences. But we made an effort to, first of all, prepare all the teachers in the faculty, the School of Education, so that they could use technology. And we have great examples of faculty. It's a very international faculty, as a matter of fact. We have a very young professor from South Korea who came in already, just like Jason, ready to prepare to do the videos, ready to do the conferencing, and he has been a star. We had the young lady from Vietnam who has been also very effective, and she's a researcher as well. And she has been very successful in training others how to use the technology. We have a professor who came from Switzerland. He's a German speaker of Switzerland, and he is also a star in promoting the use of technology in the Faculty of Education. So I think that we have been very successful at the university, in Cal State University system, to prepare those teachers that are going to go out into the classroom to use the technology. So I think that maybe it's an exception. I don't know how they do it in Texas, or some Houston University and others, but at the Cal State University system, we have been very careful to train the teachers to use the technology. And so when the teachers teach those that are going to be in the classroom, I think that there is more of a chance of a success in using the technology. So at this point, with COVID-19, although I am not there because I've been retired now, I'm gone from the university for 3 years, but I feel pretty confident in saying that they have been successful in communicating with the teachers and the students, and that the students that are in the Central Valley of California have been successful as well. But that's my opinion.
Wow. I have a quick question, actually. Does anyone like have a rule of how the online structure should be? Like, for example, in Korea, an hour class should be crumbled down into exactly 25-minute long video. It has to be 25 minutes. So
Well,
if it's a 2-hour class, I'm required to make a 50-minute video.
Well, there are two things here that you're asking. One is, what if you prepare a video for a class? And I think that somehow this ratio has been mentioned before, that the video should not be more than 15 to 20 minutes for an hour of class.
I
And
totally
that
agree.
is very simple. I did some experimentation with that when I was at California State University in Fresno. And I had some professors who invited me to video their classes because they told me that their students were going to watch
We're losing you. Maybe it's because it's not 25 minutes long.
I will do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to the class and I recorded the whole class. And a month later, I asked okay, how many people have watched your video? 0. I said, right. So let me show you how to do this in a different way. And so we started doing videos that were 10, 15 minutes long, and for the whole class. And that seemed to be more successful because those long videos, nobody's going to watch. Nobody.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I think the assumption too is that learning comes from listening, and that's not what learning is. You know, I mean, learning.
Exactly.
Okay, so that is the second part. That is the second part. The second part of the issue here is, okay, so now what do we do with the video? So if the students are just going to watch a video for 15 minutes, are you asking them to do something? Or are they just going to listen to the video and watch it and what? So I think that the second point is, how do you become that video or the instruction? Because it may not be a video, it may be a live instruction, because that's what you are doing now. With the COVID-19, the teachers are in front of the classroom with conferencing systems like this. And so what are they doing? Okay, so there are some good examples. I have a colleague from Spain, actually, who is at Aravaca school. It's a K-12 school in Madrid. And what they are doing is exactly that. They are working with the students. So while the teachers are online, they are not online all the time. They are asking the students to collaborate. So they give them a problem to solve. The students work together because they're using systems like this. So they work together in teams. So we can, like here, I could split this in rooms. So I can assign students to a particular room with the challenge that they have been given, so that they can respond to that challenge, and then I can get them together. And so now I have all the rooms, and everybody in the room or in the different rooms is going to report about the findings of the problem that they solved. So then there's more interaction. And this doesn't have a video. It's just the video component of the conference. But all the students are participating, but they have the guidance of the teacher, and the teacher is available so that if the students have questions, they can interact and go back. And so those are the two issues. The one is having a video that is so long, or the other one is, what do you do with interaction with the students and the teacher while they are online learning?
But you can also use interactive videos.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, I was just saying that my university is stupid. I mean, the Korean educational body has a stupid policy. 1 hour has to be 25 minutes.
Well, and the thing is, in all this discussion, I think we have also seen this is becoming an issue. We need to really distinguish between what is remote teaching and learning, and what is online learning, which is intentionally planned. A lot of the strategies in online learning that's intentionally planned is being used in remote teaching, but because they are being implemented on a piecemeal basis, it may not have the same kind of efficacy. I had a quick question too about the duration of the meeting, because we've gone past the hour. And I need to get on with my day too.
Yeah, I think we probably need to just to start to wrap this up. So looking at the agenda, really the last few things to say. We are postponing, as you probably know, our meeting in Portugal will be held. It will just be held in 2021. It won't be, the dates are not set yet, but those will be set very shortly. I think we've come down to moving it back into September. So I think that was agreed upon, but the dates aren't firm. And we will plan for a future GA, as Ray suggested, probably much later in the year, maybe fall sometime. I really think, I guess that's it. Ray, did you have any other business you wanted to mention?
No, that was, I mean, we got the legal stuff out of the way. I thought it was just a really good idea for all of us to share notes basically on what's going on around the world. I really like the idea of the special edition of EMI. It's good to see that you're all here, you're all healthy, especially those who are in the more high risk category, like Walter.
like
okay, Walter, do you want to say something? Yeah, from my side, this is enough for now. I mean, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have a different meeting later on in the year where we'll put some more of these ideas together. I'll send you out the draft version then of our statutes again. Hannah and I, and Otto as well, have also put together a short description of the possible structure of the new organization. So these are things that we can discuss well in advance of the next meeting. Regarding EMI as well, Pambos, I think you probably got the email today as well from Taylor and Francis. Obviously the EMIs
Yes.
have not been going out. They're
But
talking
most of
or
the people access it online. I mean, most of our access things are on
are online anyway.
Yeah.
But the physical copies have not been going out. So we'll see, we'll be notified when that's up and running again. Yeah, from my side, like I said, great to see you all. Great to see that everybody's healthy. Stay healthy, stay at home. Feed your chickens, feed your bees. Yeah, and I'll keep you updated if anything happens on our side as well. Yeah, Hannah, do you want to have the closing word?
So really, that's it. The meeting, the extraordinary General Assembly can officially be adjourned. So thank you all. Yay.
All right, and I'll stop the recording now.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye everybody.